I'm not used to being clapped, but I think I like it, so we'll make all my staff do it every time I enter the room. So, similar to Jamie, Federico, I'm just going to talk a bit about the journey my company's been on. As I often describe myself, I'm the glass is twice the size it needs to be, sort of person, and quite negative. So I'm going to do it in the things that kind of went wrong. If you're interested in the things that went right, they'll be up on the slides. But the things that went wrong, I'll talk about. So, as was mentioned, we're spinning out a Napier, right? It was an idea here. A PhD student called Phil Penrose did some of the original work. And by the time I got involved with it, it was when we had a high-growth startup project, right? We've heard this before. The person talked about it earlier, and it was one of the things we do. And we'd applied for this money so that we could actually take it as a high-growth startup project to spin out. And it was a great idea. We were going to do this great piece of software for data loss prevention within banks, right? Now, that's not my talk. And what we did was we had that great thing that said we were trying to go around all the customers. Bill will put us in touch with all these banks. It was great. We went into boardrooms, we talked about data loss prevention. As I said, we're on the High Growth Startup Project. We were getting training by Scottish Enterprise, Start Global as it was called. And it was great. And then one day, we're sitting in one of the Start Global training things on business model canvas. Everyone knows that, it's a nice big thing. And the thing is, myself and Ian, who happened to be that business person that you get one day a week to help you out, we'd already done business model canvas. We'd already done it, we knew what it was, we had a thing. So for a laugh, we thought rather than just put the same stuff up on the canvas that we did last time, what we would do is we always kind of thought this might be an idea for law enforcement. It doesn't always have to be this data loss prevention. And so we decided, so rather than redo the work we'd already done, in this training course, what we would do is we'd try it out for law enforcement. Maybe this great idea, because my background is in law enforcement, it just seemed like it was a good idea. So we did it. And it was then we realised the whole business was in the wrong area. We should actually be doing law enforcement, not data loss prevention. So we had a bit of a heart-to-heart and decided to go back and rewrite all the business plans. And the interesting side effect of that was we got thrown off the High Growth Startup Project, right? Because we were no longer at the stage we were meant to, and we weren't at the place we were, so they asked us politely to leave. Now, that might sound terrible. It was terrible at the time, but I understand why they did it, and I agree with them, right? We'd taken 5 steps back. We weren't the business we were going to be. And I completely agree with what they do. We got on with them well. I'm not going to do such high prices, doing great things. This isn't a thing about them. It's just something bad that happened. But what actually happened out of the back of that was we had to find money. How do we keep this idea of our business going? And it turned out I found money in the Home Office. The Home Office were putting some grants together. I managed to apply for that. I managed to keep Ian, who was the business advisor, on that grant. And actually, that getting thrown off that original grant ended up being the thing that meant we got Home Office money, we made a whole load of contacts, and actually ended up being something great for the company. And the other thing it did was it made me and Ian both realise that law enforcement, saving the world, helping children, was what actually energised us. Data loss prevention for banks still sounds boring. So, where are we? 2017. So, end of 2016, we officially spun out of Napier University. We sat in a lawyer's office, signed lots of pieces of paperwork. We went down to Codebase. We signed the release, got into this empty room, tiny little office, and the phone went, and it was our lawyer. We can't find the money. Right? In the whole thing of transferring from point A to point B, somebody had lost their investment money, and we just signed off. So it was found, but that's the big thing of that year. So the whole of 2017 was basically, how do you get that? The way I kind of like to think about it is seed money, pre-seed money, is to find 1 or 2 people who will buy your product. Seed money is then getting that sales process down to fact that you can repeat it over and over again. And then Series A money is then, well, all you've got to do is cookie cutter sailing. So here at Pre-Seed, what we're doing is we're developing our prototype. And at the prototype, our prototype was great. We used to stand at trade shows, running our evaluation, showing people it working, but it looked like it was written for Windows 98. Right? But it worked. It proved to people that we could do what we were doing. Yes, and we got our very first sale in December of that year, which meant that we basically spent 100 grand and made £1,000 in licensing. Right? Go us. So through 2018, we're doing the same thing. We've got another seed round under our belt, and we want to now get to the point we can find 5, 6, 7 people who will actually buy it. Okay? So again, another year we spent going round all these places, round all these police forces. Now the picture on the right, that's fantastic, isn't it? And it's a great example of one of the biggest issues we actually had. So we actually won an award, right? And we sent our marketing person to go and pick up the award. And he goes up, this person comes up, shakes his hand, gives him the piece of plastic or glass or whatever it is. And being a marketing person, he wants to know, can I post this picture? No. You can't tell anyone what the award was for. You can't tell anyone who gave you the award. You can't tell you why you got the award, when you got the award, or who the person was shaking your hand, right? So, and this is a problem we had. So you saw Jamie's presentation. Here's our first customer, Wilson. You saw mine, we had our first customer. Law enforcement, the people we're dealing with, don't actually want you to advertise who you're selling to. So you won't see customer X, Y, and Z in my presentation because I'm not allowed to. So you have that problem. How do you actually advertise if you can't say, there's no referenceability? How do you say, we have this customer? How do you do case studies? It's the great way of selling things. You do case studies. No, nobody wants to really talk about it. So the way we overcame that is that we've got agreements that we have agreements that we can talk about stuff in public, but we also have agreements we can talk about certain deals within closed groups. So if this was a completely law enforcement audience, I could give a different presentation because I can talk about who these people are. So the other thing, as I said, we got the Home Office funding back in 2016. That then led on to us getting a paid evaluation. It's not just the £1,000 license. We got to actually look at evaluating some of our technology with the Home Office, which meant that we could be paid to do that. And that ultimately, over a year's worth of work, ended with the Home Office purchasing our technology for the whole of UK policing, right? Which was great because it gave us some referenceability. We could actually point at a government website that says we bought this. It doesn't mention us exactly, but it sounds like us. So we can use it. So that's great. We've now got referenceability. We've got something we could do. We've got a couple of customers, probably about 10 licenses out there. We want to go for seed funding. Right? That's where you start to get to the point where you can create a cookie cutter way of doing sales. You can bring your cost of sale down. Once you've proven that you can sell these things for less than you're going to make them, or you can sell them for more than it takes to make them, you can move to Series A. Just get lots of salespeople and make $1 million, or make lots of millions. So we get to 2019, end of 2019, we've got our plan, we've sat down, we've split every country in the world down by, are they English speaking? How close is it to get there? Do they have data? The best way of working at how we're going to basically invade the world. What are the first countries we're going to focus on? What order, etc. We've went to investors, they've given us quite a large amount of money for us to then go out and prove that we can sell. We can go around, we can make this an excellent business. Now, as we all know, 2020, That's when I bought this water bottle. That was the highlight of the year. For anyone who can actually see, there's a koala on this, right? So October 2019 to January 2020 was the large Australian wildfires, right? And we were sitting at the start of 2020. I bought this because, number one, I needed a water bottle, and number two, it was to give to charity, because this was the most horrific thing that had happened in years. Yeah, that was only the beginning. So yeah, 2020 is warming up to be interesting, and we've just taken a whole load of money with the whole idea of doing sales. And we're all locked in our house. And all our sales were done face to face. The whole of, I don't know, well, you probably don't know much of this, but at the time, all of UK policing, there was a big assumption that there was going to be massive civil unrest. So all officers were being rediverted. So all our customers were disappearing on the potential that they may have to be on the streets stopping the riots, which didn't happen, thankfully. So we ended up in this really bizarre situation that we've just got this whole load of money to go out and prove that we can sell, but we can't actually go out and sell. So March 2020, we had to get our investors together, because we were really worried at the time that our investors would ask for their money back. Right? They could just say, well, you can't sell, we want our money back. So we had to sit down with them and prove that we wanted to keep building the company. We wanted to still keep going on. So for example, they might have said, we want all our money back. They might have said, get rid of all the staff to increase runway. But what we actually tried to do was think of other ways that we could actually build value. We'd kind of looked at where we might go next. What might be our second product? And the way you kind of do that is you think, well, we have this product or this IP, and we have these customers. So one thing you can do is you can take that IP and apply it to different customers and sell there. And the other thing you can do is take the same customers and sell them another product. And we'd come up with this idea that we might be able to do something with safety. Online, we could take the same, instead of just being part of law enforcement process, we could do the same sort of thing of detecting that sort of material online. And when we realised that we were going to basically be sitting in our house for a while, we decided to actually take that business idea and see how far we could take it. So during quite a lot of 2020, we started to develop prototypes of this new idea, we started to build it, we started to do the market research, etc. So we actually, instead of building value by selling, we built value by coming up with a whole new business area that we could play in. The other weird thing that happened was one of our rather entrepreneurial salespeople, as I said, we'd listed all the countries in order, right? And obviously the top ones were Germany, France, because of locality. They're in the same time zone, we can just jump over there. It's nice and easy. Places like Australia, America, were quite far down. You don't sell in America by going there at the weekend or a day at a time. You actually have to go out there. But one of our salespeople actually, he did brilliantly. He discovered that as everything moved online, he could meet people he would never have got a chance to in real life. So he started contacting some potential customers in the US. He started contacting potential customers in Australia, and actually did really, really successful. Had managed to get a sale in the US and in Canada, which we weren't expecting, right? So the other thing, which basically meant that our whole plan to actually go for Europe first, we changed it during that year. And as we start to come into 2021, we're starting to think, maybe America's the place to go, right? It is such a big market, it's English speaking, and maybe some of the other Five Eyes, Australia, America, New Zealand, and Canada, there might be something there. So basically, he kind of said during 2021, I want to go out there. I want to go and try it. I want to go out there for 3 months and see if we actually have an American market. And that's what he did starting in October. He went out there for 3 months, worked out there was actually a market for our product there. And at the same time, we're also building this other online safety. And this is why we're starting to think about changing our name. is we're starting to bring this idea that we did the research, and we've actually realised that there is another market there for online safety we could go for. As I said, we still built value during COVID, but we'd started to do that. So coming into this year, we changed our name, because now that we're moving into online safety, we started to clash with other people with similar sounding names than we had. Everyone's seen the stuff on online safety coming through the EU, the UK's online safety bill. Our idea for having this, what was Cyan Safety, is kind of this online safety tool, looks like the best place that we can actually deploy it is with an end-to-end encryption. So we've developed a technology where you can detect illegal material in end-to-end encryption without destroying the user's privacy. We've also started looking at other ways of private reporting, etc. And we've opened our US office. So where we've kind of come to at the end of last year is that we've built a company that's about 40 staff. We've now got offices in both the UK and the US, and we're doing really well. So what does this year hold? Well, the first thing that this year holds was I used to be the Chief Technical Officer, and in January I became the Chief Scientific Officer. And really that's kind of an acknowledgement of where my work is just now. It's kind of, in the early days you almost pick titles out of a hat and see what happens, but now we're starting to get the job titles mean something. I'm looking forward to this because I'm not sure what it actually means. So I kind of want, giving advice, right? Listen to what Jamie and Federico said, right? They're absolutely right. I'm not going to add to that. But I did think in closing I would do something trite, like, because I had all these kind of examples of how it went bad. I thought, I'll do if life gives you lemons, make lemonade, or some nonsense like that. But actually, we didn't really accept the bad things that happened. We just found a way to succeed in spite of them. So it's probably more, if life gives you lemons, tell life where to stick its lemons and find a better way of succeeding. Thank you.
Thank